Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Alex and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to fix disk boot failure or no bootable device found error or whatever error it displays when the loading operating system message comes up. This error occurs when your SSD or hard drive has died or it's not working properly, or the SATA or power cable has been moved from your SSD or hard drive, or even NVMe in that matter, and Windows cannot access your disk storage and cannot load an operating system from it. And in this video I'll show you two methods. The first method is going to be by going to the BIOS and changing the boot order, and the second method is going to be by opening up the computer, as you can see right here, move the SATA or power cable, which for me is this one right here. And I have purposely removed the SATA cable so I could get that error message that I showed you just a few seconds ago. And that's going to be the second method. If you want the timestamp for the second method, I'm going to leave the timestamp right now. And yeah, let's head to the first method, which will be going to the BIOS. Before I boot up my computer, you will need to head to your BIOS, as I said, and many of you may not know how to go to the BIOS. But to head to the BIOS, when your computer is booting up, when the first thing pops up in your monitor, down here at the bottom it will display some numbers saying, for example, the escape key goes to the BIOS, the F12 button goes to the boot menu and all of that, and some other keys may go to express recoveries or something like that. For my computer, the key to go to BIOS is the delete key, and if you do not know or if you miss the buttons right here or what they do, the common keys to head to BIOS are, I'm pretty sure, the escape key, the F12 button and the delete key. There may be one more, I'm pretty sure is the F10 as well, I'm not sure, but these are the default keys to head to BIOS. But if you know already how to head to BIOS, then that will be no problem for you. So right now I'm gonna boot up my computer. I boot it up, and when the first thing pops up, I'm gonna spam the delete key until it says prepare to enter setup. I'm gonna spam the delete key and it says right here prepare to enter setup, and that means that it will successfully go to the BIOS. Give it a few seconds, and right here we are at my BIOS. Bear in mind that every motherboard and BIOS is different. You will not have the same BIOS as me. Many of you, if you have older computers, you will see the same blue screen effect that I have right here, but newer BIOSes will have different layouts and settings. And yeah, to find the boot order section, you will need to head down to where it says advanced BIOS features, then hit enter on the top that says hard disk boot priority. Hit enter, and again, as I said, to head to the setting, to the hard disk boot priority. It will be different for every computer. Well, for many of you will be, so you have to search it for yourself. And yeah, once you find a similar section like this one right here, as you can see right here, the top one is my hard drive storage, as you can see right here, and the second one is my Samsung SSD 860 EVO. And to change the boot order, as it says here, you will need to click one of those buttons that says right here, change priority. But if you do not know what these buttons are, for me is the page up and page down button, and if I click page down, it will bring the SSD in the top place. As you can see right here, I just did it, and it has put the hard drive storage in the second place. And the next time your computer boots up, it will boot from the first hard disk, which for me is the SSD right here. And yeah, once you have done that, once you have changed the boot order, head back to the menu, head to where it says save and exit setup, hit enter, hit Y for yes to save to CMOS for the settings that we changed, and I'm gonna hit enter, and you will see right now that it will boot straight to Windows. And if it still does not boot up, then check again the boot order settings if you have put the disk drive in the correct order, or wait for the second method, which I will show you in a little bit. I'm gonna wait to head to Windows to see that I'm not faking it or anything. And yeah, as you can see, no error messages popped up, and as you can see, the Windows logo is right here, which means that the boot up was successful. And as you can see, we are in the login screen right now. I'm gonna shut down the computer once again, and we will do the second method. So I'll see you in a few seconds. Okay guys, I'm back, and for the second method, before you do anything, in order to open up your computer, we will need to first of all shut it down by manually shutting it down from Windows or from clicking the power button, which for me is this button right here. You cannot see it properly, but it's a button right here to shut it off from the power supply if you have trouble manually shutting it down from Windows. And after you have shut it down your computer, remove every cable that there is from your tower. Get the case, put it on a table or in a chair, wherever you are comfortable with. Open up the side panel, which I've already removed it. And you will need to locate your disk drives, which for me is the SSD right here. This is the SSD and this is the hard drive storage. And right now, what you simply need to do, you will need to check for the SATA cable, which for me is this one right here, and the power cable is the right below it. And what you will need to do, just simply remove it and then put it back in and give it a little bit of force so that you know that it's in properly. And then do the same thing for the power cable. And that's pretty much it. If you do the steps that I showed you, if you do them like that, if you give it a little bit of force on both of the cables and you try booting up your computer, and then you will see that Windows will be loading up properly. And if you see that the error still occurs and you have seated the cables properly, what you could simply do is remove the SATA cable and get a different one that you have on your tower. So for example, I could take my hard drive SATA cable right here and plop it on the SSD. And that should fix it. If you still that the error still occurs, then I suggest you take your SSD or hard drive or whatever else you got and you try it on a different computer if possible. And if you do not have a second computer or a laptop or anything else, then I suggest you taking it to a repair shop so they can check it out. Editor Alex right here. I forgot to say in the video that make sure of course that you have an operating system installed on your SSD, hard drive or NVMe or whatever else you got, and make sure that the error message is similar to what I showed in the video, the disk boot failure or no bootable device error found, and make sure it does not say that boot manager or boot MGR is missing or something like that, because that's a completely different story. Make sure that you have the error messages that say disk boot failure or no bootable device error found, because as I said, if it says boot MGR is missing or something else that does not make sense with what I showed in this video, then that will be a completely different story and I will not be able to help you that because it will change the topic of this video. And yeah, let's head back to the video. I'm not gonna cover every single solution because this video could be like 20 minutes long, but if you have any similar issues or my fixes did not work, then hit me up in the comment section and I'll try to help you as much as possible. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the second method. I'm not going to boot up my computer because my SSD is working just fine. And yeah, that's everything it. That's the video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any problems, tell me in the comment section and I'll try to help you as much as possible. If you have any video ideas, tell me in the comment section and I'll try to make them in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you in my next video. See ya!